dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.
Yup. It's your boy. Man, what's up? It's your boy Humble Dad back with another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. I apologize for my tardiness. I had to take care of some personal things. But my crew is here and we got things to do and talk about. We're going to talk about servant or slave, married life, or in relationships, however you want to break it down. And this came from a conversation that I overheard by way of YouTube. And I think it's Ugly Music. Something like that. If I'm saying it wrong, then I'll make sure I get it corrected later, right? And he was asking the lady about, can a man and a woman be a 304 and a trick? And she was like, yeah, in a marriage. And he was like, what? In a marriage? And she tried to explain herself, but there was no way around it. And so I was like, okay, so there's people out here that think like that. So let's talk to the panel and see what they think. So before we get started, though, our question of the day is going to be, what's the best numerical time of the day? What's the best numerical time of the day? Okay. We're going to ask Miss Jamie. I always got to be ready.
I was really thinking too, like really hard. I was like, okay, he's gonna call me like third, and I'll have time. I'm a morning person,
Right.
so I would say 6 a.m. like sunrise. I like to watch the sunrise.
That's what's up. Is it so sit in that? So you actually go see the sunrise?
Yeah, like I mean, I used to. Well, I get up really at like 3 or 4, so I'm up before.
You wake up like the roosters.
I wake up like a future millionaire.
So you wake up the roosters. Okay, I got you. That's what's up. Nothing wrong with it at all. Okay. Hey, we're gonna get our answer from Mr. Jay Zilla.
Hey man, I'm an early riser too. Me and my wife get up at 4. We do our devotion and we do a walk, stretch type thing, and then she does her thing. I do my thing, and that golden time for me is 5 a.m. where no one bothers me and the kids are still asleep. We don't have to bother them till about 6. So that hour is my power hour.
That's what's up. So do you walk then stretch?
Yes, sir.
So you don't stretch before you walk?
Nope. Warm it up with the walk.
That's interesting. I wonder what the athlete thinks about that. What's up, Mr. Prototype?
I mean, Jay Zilla's an athlete too. That's why he do the order he do.
You go work out, then you come back and stretch.
You stretch after you work out. What's the point of stretching cold muscles?
I thought you do both. I know when I ran track, we had to do warm up and then we had to do cool down.
After the fact, you cool down. That's
warmed up with some, but whatever, man. Okay, you right. I'm gonna let you.
Man, the best time of the day is whenever you're enjoying whatever you want to do. There's really no set time because it could be 4 a.m. some days and it could be 2 in the afternoon other days. You know what I'm saying? Best time you're enjoying whatever part of the day you got going on. That's the best time for you. So
I see you with the philosophy. That's what's up. Hey, welcome to the stage. Lost in Translation in the building.
Good evening.
What's up, man? What you got on it?
The best time for me is 2:00 a.m. And the reason why is because I know for a fact nobody's going to call me. And I can I can reflect on a few things. I can get a few things done. So 2 a.m. in the morning is the best time for me.
So when you go to sleep,
4:15 a.m.
dang, that's what's up.
And usually I get up about 5:30 a.m. So I kind of split my days, my sleep up. So I get off at work at 3:15 p.m. and I go right to sleep. So I know for a fact nobody's going to call me between 3:15 and about 8 because I'm asleep. So that's how that works. So I split my days up in my sleep. Normally, I only sleep more than 4 hours at a time because my sleep is deeper when it's only 4 hours. I enter REM sleep faster when I do it that way, and that gives me a little bit of creativity. So that's why 2 a.m. is the best time.
Man, you never know what you're gonna learn by asking these get to know you questions.
Yeah.
People sleep late, early. People don't like pizza. You know what I'm saying? Like all types of things, bro.
Right.
Who don't like pizza, Jamie? You don't like pizza?
Listen. She don't even know if she like it, bro. That's the thing. That's the thing. She tasted it like, this is not it. She ain't tasted it to say she ain't like it. Here we go. Dwayne in the building. What's up, bro? You are so considerate.
Yes, sir. Pump fake. What's going on, beautiful people?
Hey, the question is, what's the best numerical time?
Repeat that again.
What's the best numerical time of the day?
Can I get the GED version of that question?
What's the best time of the day on the clock?
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I appreciate that. Best time of the day. Man, I'd say probably around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock p.m. Kids sleep. Well, they should be asleep. So that's yeah. Full stop.
So at 9 o'clock at night. Okay, bet. I say for me, it's probably about 6 in the morning. That's when I wake up. And then I do my, I'm reading through the Bible, as I told y'all that. I'm reading through the Bible, and that's when I do my reading. And then I need to wake up a little bit early, I think, because if I wake up a little bit early, I'll be able to work out in the morning as opposed to trying to figure it out in the day. Because I got to be out the house by 6:50. Because sometimes I take my kids to school, and then I got to be at school somewhere around 7:15, 7:25. But I only live like 5 minutes from my job. So, you know what I'm saying? I'll be delaying getting to where I need to get to because it's so close, you know, and I got a flexible schedule. So that's what it is. All right. So let's get it started, man. Servant or slave? And then I want to ask a different question than the one I had. I just came up with one. When you hear the topic, what comes to mind? When you hear the topic, what comes to mind? And I'm gonna give you a little bit of think time, and then I'm gonna let you go, Jay Zilla.
Yeah, so servant or slave? Yeah, I think of it as like a black and white either or thing. If we're talking about a marriage, it needs to be some sort of, I guess, it needs to be fluid, right? My wife has some expertise in the financial world that I can't even fathom, you know, so a lot of times I am the slave to our budget, right? On some major goals that we have way down the road, like she's all about the spreadsheets and all that stuff, and if I could avoid it, I'd do so, right? But yeah, and of course, most of the other things, any other big decisions, you know, she always, you know, asks me my opinion. So I think it should be fluid. And I'm gonna go with prototype, man.
Servant or slave? I think I kind of feel it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than, you know, the only difference is like a attitude or perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm a servant, then it's kind of like I'm willingly being that way. You know what I'm saying? Being in servitude to you. Slave is a forced behavior. You know what I'm saying? It's a forced situation. So I That's kind of how I think about that. A servant is a little bit more pleasing about what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I think of I want to say Joseph when it comes to servant. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though he was a slave, but he was more of a servant because I want to say Joseph, but he did his job with pride. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't mess things up. Like, that's what I want to say. I'm not the biblical scholar some of y'all are, but that's what I got in my head, right? So
Okay, that's what's up. Who you got next?
let's go with LIT, baby.
Appreciate the prototype. Normally when we hear serving a slave in spaces like this, normally it's the women who think that the things that they do is akin to slavery. But normally when I hear women say servant, it's usually the married women who look forward to serving. You know what I mean? And sometimes the husbands look forward to serving. It's only those who decide that they don't want to do something is when they decide they're being a slave. You know what I mean? It's like Prototype said, man. It's a mindset. You know, most leaders are servants. You know, they never say that I'm a slave to these employees or whatever. Normally, somebody who's doing good things for their organization or their family. Normally, they wake up looking forward to helping people. You know, those who get up and say, "Hey, look, I'm being a slave to this." Normally they're probably not being respected. Nobody's appreciating what they're doing. So they feel like, hey, I'm doing this for nothing. So those are the people who look at what they do as slavery instead of being a servant. It's all about looking at yourself and the perspective and the capacity of how you help people and whether or not you get respect while you're doing it. I'm gonna go with Dwayne this time.
Man, appreciate y'all. Y'all gave me the opportunity to look up some definition. Yeah, I did it. I hit that Google. I sure did. All right. And in that short span of time, the only thing I noticed was one's voluntary and one's not. Okay. Slavery is not is you're forced into doing it. Servant it's a choice. You're choosing to serve. You're not forced to, essentially. It's a choice. So I'd say that's the difference for me. Jamie? Yeah, come on with it.
I actually my answer was going to be a combination of prototypes and loss. So as far as like perspective and whether or not you feel appreciated is when it flips. I mean, you've ever been in a relationship and the lady is happy to serve you, but when she starts to feel like you're taking advantage of her, now she's like feeling like a slave because you're mistreating her or of those type of things. So really, it's just a combination of prototypes and lost in translations definition. But I'm not going to repeat it because I don't have anything to argue about with that.
You don't have anything.
No.
Somebody else on the side. It's not you trying to look to see if you need to argue it.
Yeah, but no, I think we covered it. It just really is your perspective. There's some women that go in and they never want to serve the man. So they're going to always feel like they're a slave in the situation. And that's because they come in with the initiative, like I should be catered to. Right. And so it's just the mindset going into the relationship, to the situation. And that has to deal with a conversation that you have to have. You have to find out, how does this person really think?
Should a woman be catered to? Let's talk about it.
I think both should be catered to. Like, I like
woman be catered to.
No, I mean not solely. I mean, what do you mean? Say it again. Should a woman be catered to only?
Both. No, I'm just talk to me about should a woman be catered to, and then expound upon yes or your no. So because most people say, well, both. Well, I understand that position, but just give me the yes that you're saying for the woman.
I think that answer would be different for everybody. Like, catered to me is different from another woman. Does that make sense? Like, catered to me is pretty cheap and inexpensive, but to another woman, it might be lavish gifts. So I I don't know if that, like, what I'm gonna say has any value to what the masses thinks. Like, catering to me is like making sure I have my ginger ale and my honey bun. You feel me? Like, if you do that, I mean, I probably, yeah, I'm really simple. Like, that does something for my heart because I love both of those things. And so,
You
but
like bread, but not what's on the pizza. All right, got it.
I'm never gonna live that down, like, ever. I
Not-
can tell.
Everybody else may let it go. So what y'all think? Okay, I got your point, Jamie. I'm with what you're saying, but I'm looking for some elaboration because I you know, of course it matters to the individual, but we speak in generics or generality so that because we're speaking to a particular audience of people, right? So in your perspective, you're saying yes, women should be catered to. Is what you. That's something to argue about.
So I'm a boy mom, and I grew up around a bunch of men. So I do not believe that women should be catered to. If you want to be honest, that is my answer. Seriously,
that's what I. Hey, listen.
I wasn't catered to, so I don't know what that looks like.
But you want to be catered to.
Probably not. I probably wouldn't know how to take
You
that.
just said honey bun
I want
and
honey
ginger ale.
buns and ginger ale. That's not catered to. Like, that's just make sure that's there.
Yes, it is.
That's literally what the definition is. I'm over here rolling because that gun prototype did it again, boy.
Is it being catered
That
to?
gun prototype did it again, man. He hit it on the head, boy. It said food and it to provide food or entertainment. Golly. Golly.
He hit it on the head.
He did it again.
Maybe. Should women be catered to? That's the question. Yeah, with it. So, who you got going next, Jamie?
Let's go with Prototype, since he was right about food and entertainment.
I mean, if you want the draws, food and entertainment is the way to get there. You know what I mean? They say it's, you know, food is a way to a man's stomach, but it's really not really. It's, you know, it's more a way to a woman's, you know, heart than it is anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to kill him with the chicken Alfredo, chicken and shrimp Alfredo back in the day. Like, that was my go-to. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't going to restaurants, but I got a little chef history in my, you know what I'm saying, in my work life. So I used to, hey, let me make this chicken Alfredo for you. You know what I'm saying? You come over for that, it's over. So yeah. Yeah, should women be catered to? Yeah. I mean, it depends on, you know, what's going on, but I think everybody likes a little bit of, you know, special treatment from here and there. But if you want them draws, yeah. Let's go with HD, man. He be sitting back just taking in last. Like, you know what I'm saying? What you got, moderator?
Listen, hey, I think that women, a certain woman needs to be catered to. Right? So your main chick, I think she needs to be catered to. You know, if she is in the realm of she's going to be your wife, she needs to have an idea of what that looks like when she's going to be your wife. So catered to me would be learning what it is that she likes. So if it's something for, like, my wife, she likes me just to be in her presence. You know, she like hugs, she like kisses. You know, and so for me, that's catering to. You know, I may even, and I have washed her clothes and then folded them before. You know what I'm saying? Just so she wouldn't have to. You feel me? Or if she can't come, if she has to work late, I'll cook dinner. I'll cook your dinner too. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I get, that's how I go, right? Okay.
Yeah,
so,
that's how it go.
So yeah, your main chick for sure, not your side dish. You know what I'm saying? Your main chick. Yeah. What you got on it, Lost?
You know what? I support those who support me. It's efficient. You know what I mean? It's sufficient because you want to focus on those who support you. You know what I mean? Take care of the folks that are around you who help you out. That's how I look at it. And I absolutely agree, because I think a lot of times guys they go overboard when it comes to catering to women. You know what I mean? That's when the word simp comes in. And I think a lot of people get it twisted, because they think that they take somebody out on a date or they spend lavish things on them. I'm like, what have they done for you? You know what I mean? And then, my thing is do they help you with, the things that you need to have done? So my whole thing is this: I support those who support me. I show up for those who show up for me. And if every now and then, if I'm feeling generous, I may help somebody along the way, because that's what we're supposed to do, but not to the extent or to the detriment of those who are around me, who've been there since day one. Those are the people I take care of. So I'm in agreement with you on that one, Humble Dad.
Give me
I'm gonna
something
go with
overboard before you move on. Give me something that would seem like an overboard of catering that would lean itself into simping.
normally what happens is, if you ask someone on a date and they say no, and then you bribe them, with a real expensive dinner date, you know what I mean? Instead of just meeting for coffee or whatever. Just those are the differences, man. It's the weight and the gravity of what you're trying to do. Because if it's somebody who really wants to be in your presence, they'll just be in your presence. They're glad to be around you. They look forward to hearing from you. But if you have to bribe them with gifts, and always being available for them when they're never available for you, those are the imbalances in relationships, or red flags, that a lot of people like to overlook. So going over and above and beyond for somebody who really hasn't done anything to deserve it.
That's good. Who you got going next?
Let's go with Jamie.
Jamie went first.
Yeah,
No. I'm gonna go with Jay Zilla.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the J's that mix you up, man. Yeah. I think Newsweek had an article that talked about men and the reactions of women. It said they found that during sex, when women were more responsive, the more responsive they were, the more heightened the sexual arousal of a man, which then in turn led to more pleasure for the woman. And it is just an echo chamber, right? We know that by the bookends that echo chambers work, right? We got a bunch of people in the country right now who only talk to people who agree with them, and they take that into their everyday lives. But you can look at the other side of the spectrum as well, and literally just look at it as positive affirmations and that sort of echo as well. But I find that interesting that the more the woman caters to the man, the more the man wants to cater to the woman, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, right? So that's where I'm at with that. Mr. Dwayne, fellow glasses man.
Yes, sir. Glare for everybody. Glare for everybody. I was thinking about the question that was asked to Lit about what's considered over the top, and what came to mind was the whole love bombing thing, right? So from a simp standpoint, it's like they start the love bombing, and Lawson said this too about the access to you, right? You put yourself out there, so you're giving unlimited access to you, damn near. And then you're also you're going over the top, buying lavish gifts to be like to gain that attraction and that attention, which is simp behavior. But to the question, what is the question again?
Women be catered.
One more time.
Should women be catered to?
Yeah. So there we go. I appreciate that. I say yes, but I like how you put it. It's not just everybody, right? It's not just everybody. I'll just put it like that. It's not just everybody.
What?
And the reason why I say that, because you said main and side,
Yeah.
right? But whenever you're in a marriage, you should be catering to. But then that line comes to where you're now considered a slave, where that expectation is that is your job and your role, Esther, to cater to me. And I'm not just talking about now the physical. I'm also talking about the emotional piece of it too, where it's like now your job to cater in happiness, right? And in that's a burden that not many people could feel, and I would say damn near almost impossible, because if you're not happy within yourself, ain't nobody gonna cater nothing to you that's gonna make a difference unless yourself does it for you. So yeah, whoever ain't went, come on with it.
That's a good statement. Has everybody went? I think everybody did go on that. Anybody wanted to elaborate? Matter of fact, we can transition to how can a man be catered to? Right. So because I know Jamie was saying that she believes that both, but then she came back and said no about women shouldn't be catered to. Yeah. But then she says that she wants to be catered to, but she's a woman. She don't think that women see. So it's really, you know what I'm saying? Y'all listen. I'm only going by what you said, Jamie. You know what I'm saying? So you can respond.
Are you saying that honey buns and a ginger ale is being catered to? Like y'all consider that to be catered to?
Yes.
That's your thing, yeah.
By definition.
First of all, by your definition.
Okay, but I thought we were going with the general consensus. That nobody would accept that.
The
Like
general
no other
consensus is
woman, I don't
eviction.
think would really accept like just that little bit of stuff, right?
Don't y'all say no women aren't a monolith? Y'all all different, right? Ain't that what you say? That's what women say all the time.
I never said that.
I'm saying women say that all the time. Women are different. I'm different.
I have a lot of friends that think the same. You know what I'm saying? They don't think like me, but they think the same. That's why I'm like, no, I've met you.
All women think
I'm not to get in trouble. Like I feel like the things that I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get canceled by women that I'm really trying to cater those women.
This is a safe space. Don't worry about them. Say your piece.
Period.
I might clip it, but I mean that wouldn't be I don't do it. So listen, why you I don't understand. Listen, we all need to be held to accountability, right? So if you have something you should say, there should not be somebody that determines that you shouldn't say what you're saying. Then that means you're not being authentic.
That's true. Okay, so women are not. There's a lot of women, and I mean, so I would say I'm going to give 80% that have the same type of mindset. Just to be completely honest. So, because of what they watch, what they're entertained by, the type of men that they are, like the bad boy. I took a sociology class. I'll say this. I took a sociology class where it was women's sociology. And we watched Disney movies. And we watched other types of movies where we either get the damsel in distress or the bad boy is who we pick. And subconsciously, not to be, to say that, but it's these things that we watch that make us look for that in people, or we save the man, like, or we help them. And so this sociology class was probably the only class that I really attended in college and took it seriously, because it made me rethink my own process on why I was expecting certain things from men, or so because of those things, and we all kind of grew up with these trending movies. Women, we play with Barbie dolls and dream about how our wedding's going to be as soon as we get a Barbie doll and a Ken doll. Y'all don't do that. You get what I'm saying? So, like, you may have it. I think more men are more individually in thought process or in things that they like than women are. We kind of had a set standard of living, in a sense, whether white or black or whatever race, to be completely honest.
Interesting. What y'all think? Jay Zilla, what you think?
It's that set path. It's that set path. I agree with. My wife and I were actually kind of debating this, whether or not women don't really like dealing with machinery and mechanics and doing the big game fishing and all that, or were they just relegated to household chores and rearing of the family sort of thing. And I really, at the end of it, I couldn't really figure out which one it was, because we don't have enough data. right? We don't have enough data. We are seeing women move more into these industries. And I mean, this next generation coming up, the kids of the boomers, I believe an article said, the kids of the boomers, women are about to cross over into having, I think, about $30 trillion by 2030. So that's a huge shift. This is all pretty new. I mean, World War II happened, and then we were kind of thrust into the same spaces out of necessity, and then we are still trying to figure it out here in 2024. So there's a lot of research to be done, and a lot of information to try to sift through. But I think that's pretty interesting that $30 trillion is some countries' GDP, you know. But now they go from having nothing to that much.
Spend it well.
I don't know. I mean, everything I've seen is that they're more practical. They are pretty.
Spending.
Yeah.
This ain't seen too many people. Like you talking about women?
Oh,
Everything is
no, not women in general. I'm saying, yeah, women are being more practical. They're
spending.
Say what?
In spending.
Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily more practical than men. I'm saying from where they were before, they're becoming more practical because they're becoming more educated.
Okay, cool. Give me an example of practical. Because I've been
Practical. So there's a lot of women who's like, keep your Jimmy Choos, keep your Gucci, and all that. Like I'd rather save up money to go on a vacation and you know, sharing an experience, right? Look at this, these faces, boy. But maybe it's my own very limited experience, but yeah, I'm seeing more women appear more like Jamie, who's like, give me a honey bun, warmed up just a little bit, not too hot, right? And my ginger ale versus these lavish gifts that they're seeing Real Housewives. Like I think they're starting to wake up to that. And maybe not the boomers, but our generation and younger, they're like, man, we don't want all that.
Yeah, except for the new job title, the Fly Me Out girls, or those that want to be flown out. What they
It's
called?
Flued out. You got to say flued out.
Flued out.
See, my bad. See, I don't even know, but I know there's a category for it now, right? So in that, because of that, that's a whole nother. To your point though, Jay, there's a whole nother category out there of women that want to be catered to in that fashion. Now that's a hell of a cater right there, right? That's a far departure from your honey bun and your ginger ale. Like they're trying to get flown out, all that, all of that, past tense, present tense, all that, right? So because there is that, there are men that will cater to that market.
And so would they be considered a servant or a slave? Those guys.
Who? They would be a slave to their own desires, and their desire is to put them in a situation like that. Now, as for they're looking to think that they're serving the other, and then they're serving themselves. They're both. They're the slave and the servant, all in one.
That's what's up. So
Like chicken or the egg, right? I want some clarification on this. And then what percentage of women are the flued out girls?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, as a percentage is small. It's a small percentage because just like the all the pretty ones, right? No average. I gotta laugh, and the reason why I laugh is because you see now these average or below average or a little bit above average wanting that catering, and it's like, no, man, like you don't qualify.
No, they get it too.
I'm sorry,
they get it too.
Yeah,
I've seen ugly girls get shipped, get flued out or whatever.
Did you say shipped? You said shipped.
He said it right the first time.
Yeah,
shipped out.
Yeah, I've seen ugly girls. You know what I'm saying? Men are really that desperate to slaves to their needs or whatever, right? So they'll import something and ship it back out, like, you know what I mean? Like early, I've seen that.
So I like that. So it's like marketing. So you have all the nice, pretty ones doing the marketing, and then you have the average ones getting the residual income of that marketing for the flown out. And I just say it like that because you have a lot of these model types of IG model, which is a new profession I heard recently. That's another one, right? You have the influencers, you have the IG models and all that. Typically, those are the ones that are getting the flew out, whatever, right? And then the average, they might be able to catch the, what you said about the simple ones. They're always going to be those simple dudes that are going to basically shoot fish in a barrel.
But a lot of dudes, a lot of dudes are simple though. A lot of dudes are simple, man. Like,
I agree.
and I used to think that most men had a standard as I, but I get jammed all the time. Like they tell me all the time, bro, you're way too hard on these females. Like my standard, like they be like your standard is crazy. Why do you care about if her hands are wrinkly, bro? Like why do you care if she got pretty feet? Why do you care if she's knock knee? Like my standards are, I guess,
Most
like yo,
people,
I got so many standards. I thought we all was like respectable that way, but no, we not. And there'd be sometimes like I've seen dudes, I'm like, why you smash that? Like that don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like, well, it was summertime. College. It was summertime. Nobody else was up here. So you resorted to that, man. Man, you got hands, bro. Like I'm never going there. Like
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me jump in real. So I guess it's like there's some. So,
You realize that, right? Y'all got off track. The question was about women and not being frugal.
what's the
Right?
question?
I was talking to Jay Zilla because he said that he feels like most women are practical with their money.
Women are becoming more practical than they were before. This is a new thing for them, having to deal with doing all themselves, single motherhood, and I'm going from like
Let me ask you,
You can't quantify. See, that's why I don't be rocking with Jay Zilla sometimes. You can't even quantify that. Like, oh,
let me
more practical than before. Like, come on, bro.
I'm gonna have to. I don't agree. Because if that was true, Sprinkle wouldn't exist. Y'all know Sprinkle? Don't you know her?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the term, but I don't know what it is though.
Sprinkle got a big following, and she's teaching women how to get the bag. So like she's married an older man, and she's wealthy, and he's like way older than her, and she's like literally teaching women how to get the bag. Like when I say that it's pretty bad, it's pretty bad. And she's teaching average. You know what I'm saying? She's teaching anybody that's willing to learn how to get you some money from a man. And she even said in this one clip, she said he might have to be married. Like she said it. She said, now you don't expect him to love you, but if you're trying to get the bag and some trips and you know your bills paid, he might have to be married. That's exactly what she said. And so a lot, I looked in the comments, I was like, it's a lot of people, different age ranges, different ethnicities, they're ready for the bag.
What we teaching them to do?
Yeah, what are they teaching? What is she teaching them to do with the money? And you prototype, you're saying that it's not quantifiable. I'm just saying women by and large were not in industries in the World War I, II era. It wasn't until a bunch of men got shipped off that they had to step into those industries en masse for the first time in American history.
All right, I got you. Zilla. Wait, hold on, bro. I see where you trying to go, but you missed the boat. All right, so this is what it is. All marketing is centered around women. Okay, why would they do that? Because they know that most women respond emotionally and make purchases, right? And that's every market. So when you watch commercials, they're typically centered around what would make the woman go out and spend money. When you have a man in the house, the budget is typically or the spending is typically reduced, right? Because most men are conservative with their spending. Not all, feel me, right? But most men are conservative, so therefore they would want their woman to be the same. Now, I'm not saying that like they're not some anomalies, right? But if what your statement was true about being practical, the interesting thing about the statement that you made was that you said that they're not going to spend it over here, but they're going to take a vacation, right? Well, is taking a vacation a practical? It just really depends on like how are they actually budgeting out their money in order to determine that if that's a practical spending moment, right? Because people will spend money on things that they shouldn't have spent money on, which is not practical, right? So what'd you say? Oh, just in the back chat. All right, for sure. So that's why I would say that most women are not practical in their spending because they are pretty much led through emotions to go get something and not using do I need this? It's typically I want this, so I'm gonna go get it. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna-
why
if I may.
Yeah.
Go use Joyzilla.
I was just gonna clarify. Just this was me saying if the bills and stuff was paid, right? Instead of buying these, like I hear a lot of women say, "Don't give me flowers. It's just a waste of money." When before it was like, "Oh, you brought me flowers. That was great." So I was just trying to use different examples. Like I'd rather have an experience with my family than one purse, right? Because one really expensive purse can be a whole family vacation. So that's what I meant by that. But I want to hear Lost in that golden voice.
Listen, it depends on the type of woman you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? I'll speak to the sprinkle lady first. The sprinkle lady is teaching women how to be slaves instead of being servants because she's trying to teach them about 20 in the front and 40 in the back. Basically, she's teaching them to trade access to themselves for cash and prizes. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the problem. You know, instead of teaching women how to be servants and to help their families and to help those who help them so they can be looked upon as a Proverbs 31 woman, they don't do that. It's a shortcut. You see what I'm saying? And that's the reason why most men see women as not frugal, is because they will take whatever crumbs they get and spend it on whatever it is, whether it's something practical or impractical. And Pumple Dad said it best the first time. Most women are catered to because they're not judicious with their funds, you know, especially if they have an endless reservoir of money. And that's the reason why most advertising is done to women, and it is so complete and thorough, it goes unnoticed. I'll give you an example. Whenever a woman gets a diamond ring, the first thing comes to mind: 2 months, 3 months salary. A diamond ring is forever. That is marketing genius because it ties into the emotions of your self-worth. And a lot of women fall into that category, and they'll swear up and down, "Oh, no, that's not me." And you ask them, you know, how big of a diamond do you want? And then you turn around and ask them, how much does it cost? The answers are vastly wild. You see what I'm saying? I've actually worked in the jewelry industry, and 9 times out of 10, women are thousands of % off. You know what I mean? A 1 carat diamond ring should cost you anywhere between a good one and about $3,000 to $5,000. If you ask a woman, "Hey, you know, what size ring would you want?" "I want a 5 carat VVS clear diamond." Do you know how much that costs? Have you seen J-Lo's hand? What have you done to deserve that? You see what I'm saying? Do you know who you married? Because I am not that gentleman. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is this: women put this undue pressure on men because they don't understand the value of things. Now, I'm not saying that those particular women do, because they don't understand, because they don't educate themselves, because they are not used to making those purchases or used to serving people. And that's the reason why men and women have disconnect, is because they don't understand the value of things, because you have to go in and you have to put in the actual work. There's a certain amount of work that goes into a certain amount of value. And if you're not skilled at knowing the difference between those two, it causes a disconnect. You see what I'm saying? Now, as far as women coming to work in World War II and all this other stuff, they were going to do that anyway because the husband brought home the check. And the woman's like, "Hey, you know, what is it that we have?" That's that one pot thing. It was a transparency thing, because if she knows that she has to make the house run on his paycheck, here is everything on the table. Mess it up if you want to. You see what I'm saying? So that way she knows not to ask for things that we don't have, because everything that we have is complete on the table. And that's the reason why those guys brought the checks on. It's not that the fact that they were good with money. It was the fact that they need to know where the end of the rainbow was. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I want to jump in there. Jay, you may mention about industry, or you said more industrial. What was the word that you used?
I don't even remember.
The Industrial Revolution.
They're going
Yeah.
into more industrial job. Okay. So I also then see that there are other job avenues again that are being created for these females, right? So we'll look at like OnlyFans. That's a new trend, right? So you have these OnlyFans chicks, right, that are exchanging, like Law said, they're exchanging themselves for monetary value. They're exchanging their reputation. They're exchanging their pride, and they're exchanging all that for money, right? And we said, you said it was a limitless cash, or for income that will end one day. And you hear about these women that are hitting the wall, right? And they find out about the mistakes in which they've made. So there is something that is convincing these women to exchange what is valuable for what is valueless. And our society has put high value on these things that don't have real value. Your body is the most valuable thing that you have, and you're exchanging it for something that is fiat, honestly and truly. So in it, I think as for marketing, that is a hell of a marketing campaign. That's a hell. So you had, so for example, you had for the guys, whenever times got tough, they went to hustling, right? For women now, when times get tough, they're like, man, I'm about to start me an OnlyFans. And I'm just like, okay, that's what they're like resorting to. So I see it as for a new avenue that is being created for women to become slaves, like we've been talking about, right? That's the opposite of a servant. Like, you are now becoming a slave to something that will not take care of you. And as a matter of fact, from what I've been hearing, it drops your value significantly.
But they don't care about their value being dropped because there's always somebody there to pick up the pieces because men are really the slaves to whatever those desires are. So, like, they're saying they don't care because they know their true level is here. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna try to go get it as high as I can, and I'll catch that one on the way down. I mean, and they try their best of luck to to catch why they falling off. But some dudes are hip to it, and others, they go a little bit lower and they're okay with it. You know what I'm saying? That's when you get the 20-year age gaps in dating. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I mean, a girl that's 35 and ran through 65, a 60-year-old, 55, 57-year-old guy, he'll take her and he'll just be like, oh, I got me a 35-year-old. That's his bonus. And to her, she's like, well, I got somebody that's going to take care of me. You know what I'm saying? So they really lack morality in the whole situation, man. And you can't really, there's nothing you can really do about it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't got morality, man, there's no standard to really help.
That's good. Jay Zilla, and then I think Jamie wanted to say something. But do you want her to go first?
Yeah, we'll let her go first. I'm taking notes over here, getting everybody's
Prototype actually covered it. So that's why I kind of stopped, because you hit all of it. That's where you get the age gaps and all of that. Because I watched what is it? Who's that guy on Instagram? Something to marriage. I can't remember, but he put a poll out the other day that asked a question about, to men only, would you date somebody that does OnlyFans? Would you marry somebody that does OnlyFans? And so, of course, marry was no. Everybody said no. And then to date, just to have sex, all of it was yes. But does it decrease a woman's value? I think he asked all those questions. And I was surprised to see the answers. And then you saw women who potentially probably have OnlyFans pages in the comments upset to see the reality of how a man actually thinks of them once they decide to sell themselves for that. So even if somebody gets married that has done that, I still say that the man doesn't mentally value her, but he's not going to say that. He just doesn't want to be by himself either. And I don't know if I'm right about that, but that's the way I look at it.
If you don't mind, let me skip in here real quick. I'm so sorry, because I'll be thinking about these analogies, and I use this for my oldest daughter. When you go to the store and you're in the produce aisle, you're gonna get the best fruit.
Yeah,
you're gonna get the best daggone produce you can get. You're gonna look at all of them. You're going to evaluate, and you're gonna pick the best. They all cost the same, right?
Mhm.
But you're going to pick the best one. But I know, I guess this is kind of towards prototypes point. I know there's a moment in time where you went into a store and that produce you're looking for, they ain't got too much, and the selection you have is limited, and you do feel jaded. I do feel jaded whenever I do gotta grab that last daggum avocado, and I'm like, man, this joker here busted up, this joker here. But it's like, man, all I need to do is just sprinkle some of this in a recipe. And I think
Mm.
about it like that. It's like I do have regret. I do have buyer's remorse as I'm sitting there picking that last busted fruit. But guess what? I just like that guy. I need something. I need something. But I do feel a certain way about even getting that.
Mhm. That was good.
And Jay Zilla, what you got?
Man, y'all are so brilliant. I've changed my opinion about 17 times in the back here. First thing I want to, I guess, sort of address, right? Women having that purchasing power has always been a thing. It is a thing now, and it will be a thing. Why I keep bringing up that era of World War II is that this is the first time they didn't have a man telling them what she should or should not be buying, right? But even then, and even I think more so now as they're becoming more educated, right? Women pay back insurance at a higher clip, loans at a higher clip. There are some countries that gave out food vouchers, and it was showcased that in the homes of women only, they split the food vouchers up more equitably, right? So that's that's all I'm trying to say for that era. OnlyFans, I don't have the numbers on this. I would be very interested if any of y'all have looked into this. Is this just a use of technology for people who would have otherwise been on those other backdoor sites, and OnlyFans just caught on in the mainstream, and maybe it got a bump of new people who wouldn't have shown their feet if they couldn't put a mask on and do it in the safety of their home? Or is this just a shift because of the technology available? For one,
Let me
yeah.
let me help you out with that. Jay Zilla, I'm gonna give you a lesson, man, and I'm gonna pull back the veil, because what happens is a lot of times people like to take credit for other people's labor. You see what I'm saying? When you say that women have all this money, where do you think it came from? Women usually don't produce anything but other people, to be honest. You see what I'm saying? Think about it. Most men create things from scratch. They go out and they dig things up from the ground. They grow things from scratch. How many women farmers do you know? Not very many. Those are producers. And what happens is a lot of women like to take credit for things that they really don't, because most of the time women get money from men, and OnlyFans is an example. And the killing part about it is, Jay Zilla, most women will never tell you that, because they have a view of themselves that they present to you as if they are actually producers when they're not. You see what I'm saying? They like to take credit for stuff. I'll give you an example. They'll go to school. Yes, they'll earn their degree. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, what are you actually producing? You see what I'm saying? Are you at the oil wells pulling the oil out of the ground? Are you at manufacturers that manufacture and come up with things and press things out? You see what I'm saying? Are you producing things, or are you just putting things together? You see what I'm saying? Doing stuff from scratch, building stuff up from the hands is a man's work. Now, sometimes women like to take credit for it, and they like to beat their chest and say, I did it. But at the end of the day, when it's cold outside and it's late at night, it all comes back to 20 in the front and 40 in the back. Now, I hate to be the one to tell you, but that's exactly what's going on. People like to take the credit for things that they really don't do. And I hate to be the one to tell you, but that is the honest to God truth.
Man, that was such a dope take. Listen, Jay Zilla, before you go, the person that I think that we should kind of give a shout out to that did come from the bottom to the top was Madam C.J. Walker. You know what I'm saying? She actually built something and became a millionaire in a time period where they were saying we shouldn't own it or have anything, and a woman shouldn't is not to even be educated. So because of her, the transition of the hair care industry is it's more than billions of dollars of an industry. The unfortunate thing about it is that the Black women have not allowed themselves to be owners of that, right? In most cases, they will be their own hair salons, and they'll do hair, they'll do makeup, but as it relates to kind of being the manufacturer of it, that is where the money is. If you haven't seen Good Hair, you need to go check that out. Right? Go ahead, Jay Zilla.
Yeah. And I appreciate that loss. Like that, it really does put things into perspective if you limit it to a certain type of industry. Because you also have to look at the market share in places like the social sciences, the humanities, right? Women, by and large, dominate these fields, and maybe it's created by men, but something shifted again after World War II, where women were on oil wells and on these big sea fishing ships, and they were in factories for the first time. That wasn't the deal before, but they are teachers, they're tellers, they are nurses, like they dominate those fields. And I'm just saying that was a time period where they got to decide what to do with the money. And a lot of them, even on the OnlyFans tip, I did see an episode of Fresh and Fit where this girl was doing the OnlyFans thing, but was talking about where her investments are. Like she has a whole separate channel where she tells the women, get the bag from the men, and here's how to invest and make your money make money for you. So it's I don't know, man. And maybe that's a rare case.
That's what I just said earlier.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jamie.
I think you actually at the end proved Lost theory right. He said that overall, even if we do start something, it's still the root is a man's back and hard work, right? Like, is that what I'm gathering? Like, am I getting that right?
And I'm glad that he put that.
Yeah.
I was looking at it as just women now have money in their hands, right? And fine, it came from men, but I was literally talking about their spending habits from then to now, and the fact that they are starting businesses and trying to basically, I mean, if you look at like the WNBA, they had a lot of help from the NBA, a lot of help. Like they were literally like, hey, create me a league. Okay, now promote me. We'll come to the games. Well, you're not doing enough. Give us just a check. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Lost really put that into perspective for me. Here's my thing.
You almost lost me.
Say again?
You almost lost me.
Which part? Wait, what am I saying? What's happening here?
Now you bring it back. Man, we trying to pull Jay Zilla out of Simp World, man. For some reason, you stuck over there, dog. I don't understand how you even got over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it the Christian in you that makes you so simpish? Like, how'd you get here?
I really need you to break that down for me. Like, this is a person who I had an opinion. Lost broke it down. This is the fourth time I'm saying this now. Lost put it in perspective for me. I don't know what I'm doing here.
I'm just trying to understand the origin of the symbology that's been instilled in your heart.
You're
like,
I don't think it exists.
No, I think it's making an account for what is happening for the women's side. So there is an influx or an injection of women, or better yet, a transfer of women out of the home into the workplace, no matter what type of work it is. So, but then that doesn't make it right as well, too. Because overall, I'm looking at it from, is this doing more harm or is it doing more good? So like the whole feminist movement, right? Was it doing more harm or was it doing more good, or vice versa? Was it doing more good or more harm? Either way, whenever it happens, which one is it? So for me, I see what you're trying to get to, but I also then could say on the other end, I see a lot of men going into professions that are predominantly women. So here's one. We now see dudes cheerleading in the NFL, right? So
That's an
I'm not
option.
going to sit back and I'm not going to promote and sit there talking about I like that. Show me more of that, right? Just like in the same way, like as for women going out working in the oil fields, women working these hard, tough jobs. Like, yes, can they do it? Yeah, but should they, if they so choose? But the majority of women don't desire to do those things, right? And I think in our society is pushing for this whole equality or equity in the workplace when it's not organic. I'll sum it up. Just it's not organic. So what may seem like it's organic is putting people out, and this is causing them to conform into these ways that are not healthy overall for society. I don't want to see no dude tumbling and kicking, no daggum short skirt things.
Bro, they have cheerleaders in college. Like dudes can go to college.
There's a whole
They got
big
on
difference.
pants. They don't have on booty shorts.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
there's a whole big difference, right?
Very good
And I'm
point.
glad I
I bet.
thought about that. They ain't
That's some
tossing
Dallas
no female.
cowgirls. You know, that's some Dallas
You're not
cheerleaders. They got
cheerleaders.
men cow.
What you mean, bro? What you talking about? Let me hit you with this last question, bro.
Oh wait, can I go around the panel and get that question answered? We feel, because this is something I don't know. I'm just barely looking into now.
Question.
OnlyFans, is it really that there is like you have people in Playgirl and on these other sites all along? I mean, it's always been $1 billion industry, so there was always a market and there was always people to provide the supply. Did OnlyFans just pull from that group of women, or saying that more women are just doing that as a profession?
I would say that it created more because it's so.
Yeah. And what do you say about the market for that?
What you mean? The market? I mean, it's the men. There are men that are allowing or I guess consuming it, right? There may be women that are also consuming it as well,
Yeah.
right? Because women like women, right? And so because there is a market, because we live in a world of debauchery, right? People want to, they take the easy way out. So if it wasn't the internet providing them the easy way out, then they would figure out a way to like what some women do, scam dudes, hustle, like Dwayne was saying, dudes hustle. You know what I'm saying? As far as like selling dope and things of that nature. So the nature of individuals is to take the easy route. And so internet just made it just more easier. So
And for the dudes, they ain't got to travel to no strip club no more. They could just pull up a chair in their own house. They got their own lunch specials.
It all comes back to $40, man. I keep trying to tell y'all. Y'all don't believe me, man.
$40.
Jason, what do you think? Where do you think they get the money from, Jason? These OnlyFans women get the money from. It's not like they're creating something out of nothing.
I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying they get to decide that. They don't have to check with their husbands to see, like, is it okay if I put my feet up? You know, they just get more deciding in this purchasing power that they've always had, always do now, and will. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, men have built the world.
Yeah, I think you I think you're coming around to understanding that.
What about
women? Most women.
Dad.
I will. Most women do not have a practical sense of spending. Right?
Are you going by numbers or your own experience?
I'm going because I'm a business major. My degree is in management. I have a degree in marketing, a master's in marketing, right? And so I'm going by more than just experience, but based on reading. Right.
Is this in the United States or is it globally? I'm just trying to get a framework.
It would be in the areas of which there are multiple that single women exist the most. Is what I'm saying to you. So like, you can even, it's primarily here. I mean, in Europe, it's single women. You know what I'm saying? It's where women have more of a, if you will, more of a freedom. Okay. So if you were in India, when I lived in India, like women couldn't do anything without the man's approval. You feel what I'm saying? So your stance is that women have more liberty to spend their money how they want to, and I'm saying that is true, but that hasn't made it better for them in as well as being practical in their spending.
Gotcha.
Let me break it down for him, humble dad. Jay Zilla, this is gonna be real simple. Jay Zilla, do you have any kids?
Yes, sir. I have 4.
All right, great. How old is your youngest?
He's 4.
He's 4. Okay. So he's about to get ready to go to kindergarten, right?
Mhm.
All right. When your kids go to school, they give them these little pieces of macaroni and construction paper, right?
Mhm.
And they make this lavish glitter macaroni picture for their dad. And they bring it home to dad. And it was like, Dad, I made this for you.
Mhm.
That's women. Because think about it. Did they go to work? Did they make the construction paper? Did they make the glitter? Did they make the macaroni? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
No. Somebody gave them all the tools that they needed, and then they presented it to you as if they made it. Now, their talent went into making the macaroni and making it personal, but did they make the items that made the macaroni art? No, they did not. That's women.
But you can
They're the
agree,
makers of macaroni and
right?
cheese. Remember that. They make macaroni art.
I'm gonna hit you with this last question, right? We got one question. We're gonna be out of here. Hey, before we do that, I need everybody to let people know where can they find you. Where can they find you? We'll start with Jamie.
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Jamie Radiance Moorhead 7.
Absolutely. Jay Zilla.
Excuse me. So yeah, you can find me at Studio GWB. That'll lead you to Urban Academia, the What the Crowd podcast, as well as Redeem Life podcast. Appreciate the support.
Prototype.
Man, you can find me on Humble Dad on Monday nights and Prototype Dad on Tuesdays and Prototype Kingdom. And man, I just be all over the place, man. Shout out to my brother Lost, man. We be all over.
That's what's up, Lost.
Indeed. You can find me here on Monday nights. You know what I mean? Also, you can find me on Tuesday on the Black Man Unfiltered Network and on Friday as well at the barbershop. And also, you can find me on Instagram as well, too, here on YouTube. Thanks.
That's a bet. Dwayne.
Yeah, Dwayne Jones Photography.com.
Almost forgot, did you?
Oh,
You weren't paying attention.
to plug my OnlyFans? Oh yeah. No.
PictureTheseFeet.com. You know what I'm saying?
Six toes. No, I'm kidding.
Last question. Why do men want submission? Why do men want submission? Who want to start? Don't matter to
I'll
me.
go first.
Okay, go ahead, Lost. You sure you don't want to go last, bro?
No, I'll go last. Go ahead.
I don't think men want submission per se. I think what we want is cooperation. You know what I'm saying? I think that's more important than anything. And that's really what we're looking for, just a woman who could be cooperative. You know what I'm saying? So the submission is most men don't really want to lead everything. It's a hassle, right? We're looking for partnership. We just don't find a partnership we're looking for, and we get forced into, hey, you got to be submissive because you're just not smart enough type stuff. So man, we'll go with Dwayne Jones.
Appreciate that. I like the cooperation. But in that, I think, not I think, it says to submit to the Bible says to submit, right? So just like why do, the other question would be, why do women want love? Why do women want love? Well, the same reason why we're looking for submission. Submission is a form of respect. And in that, it's like, hey, we don't, if we go out there and we fight the world, right? And we come home, what do we expect to do? Fight at home too? No, hell no. Like, it shouldn't be. Like, we want to talk about these safe spaces and all this. Like, a submissive woman is the opposite of a contentious one, right? I want to come home to a woman who is submissive. And I'm not talking about a rug, okay? I'm not talking about a rug or somebody that you walk over. I'm talking about somebody that is understanding and is willing to cooperate. But then in that submission, it's like willing to yield, to that leadership, willing to yield to a different perspective other than their own. So even this whole industrializing of women, like women think like in the household, yes, you do have the same voice, but at the end of the day, someone has to make the final call. And whenever that call is made, are you going to fight or are you going to submit? And that's very important. And I think those are the things that you vet through the dating process, because you don't want to be fighting all the time. Not to say that conflict isn't good, but damn, not all the time. Come on with it, Jamie.
I don't have the answer. I was really trying to learn why y'all want it. I was trying to figure out what the difference was and why y'all want it. Because from what I gathered, it says like if I'm going to submit, I'm submitting to the plan and will that you're saying the ultimate goal is, and then I'm being cooperative to meet that end result, right? And so, like you said, Dwayne, it does go hand in hand. So I don't see a problem with submitting to anybody as long as we have a plan. And I think what women's fear is when we say yes to the submission, we know that there's going to be some mistakes in between there. A lot of times, this is personal experience. We want to stop you from doing something that could potentially mess up the money, I guess, right? I'm going to just say, and it's are we going to argue about it or are we going to let the experience happen and then just pick up the pieces? And that's what I have dealt with on one occasion or so, but I don't see a problem with submission. That doesn't bother me. It's just like, what am I submitting to? You know, like, are you stupid? Because I mean, like, if you make stupid decisions, then I don't want to take that ride. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to submit to that. So, but I mean, I have no argument. I just want to hear what y'all got to say because I like to understand the thought process.
Who's going next?
Jay
I
Zilla,
think it's
it's on
big
you.
loss.
Jay-Z, and then it's
Come on, man. Loss is gonna bring it home with the home run. I put in the back chat, is it cooperation or cooperative by submission? Right. I think part of the issue is what we often do, which is have our individual definition of what these terms mean. They've been polluted by, some bad actors, as it were. And I think that's what sort of taints that word or these phrases for women. Like, you should submit to me. Like, what do you mean submit? Right. And then men are so used to seeing their fathers and grandfathers, if they're so, lucky, they're used to seeing them, come in and their food being served to them. And I don't think those types really pass down the whys, like why that was happening. Right. They just thought it was probably this magical thing. I provide the money and income and I come home and my food gets ready. And then they come home to attitude instead because we have corrupted these terms. So that's where I'm at with that. I think men want, like Prototype said, they want that cooperation.
all right. When you lost,
I'm going to show you why they call me Lost in Translation Podcast. Let me break this down for you, man. This is what I do. Okay. At its core, people want to survive. Okay. And how we divvy up the way we survive is basically an agreement. When men ask for submission, they're asking for agreement because it ties into their security and it also ties into their survival. When women buck at submission, they're actually bucking at their survival. You see what I'm saying? Is what you're saying going to help me survive? And at that point, they give up their submission for agreement. They're agreeing to security. They're agreeing to what you provide is going to keep them alive. So with that being said, to them, submission is the gatekeeper to their security. Okay. Now, when women ask men to love them, that is their agreement between men and women that love is what ties them to that that woman. You see what I'm saying? The man's love ties into the base level security. So the man agrees to love the woman for her security. The woman agrees to his submission for his security. So at base level, it teaches us that it taps into our survival. So we are both agreeing to survive, but we divvy up the responsibility based on roles. Which one is good at the best? And that's the reason why we have these conversations about money, about sex, about marriage, about roles. So if you actually think about it, we're both asking for agreement to the survival of each other. And that's all that it comes down to. Humble Dad, it's on you, sir.
Man, that is phenomenal. Hey, shout out to the panel, man. Lost in Translation has dropped the mic. It's important for us to realize that we're supposed to be servants to each other, especially if you're a believer in Christ, right? We are called to serve people. You're either a slave to righteousness or a slave to sin, as the scripture says. Us men supposed to be servant leaders, meaning that we are to give of ourselves and think of others as well as think of ourselves. So with that being said, make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel, and to all my good people. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.
The boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see them about to impact the world.